Welcome back, everyone. Dave Oliveira here with Rain Networks. We're looking at modules, and up next is going to be the Patch and Assets module. What this one does, of course, is your third party and first party patching. Going through the third party management tab here, if we want to enable that, we'll go ahead and click that box there. Infinity management, this is for custom applications, and you might have a patch in an executable or an MSI that you want to put in here and patch through this. You could definitely do that. They call that infinity management. I always tick the box to keep all applications up to date because that's exactly what I want this module to do. Assets view is nice. If you have this checked, it'll show you a list so you can see all the applications on the devices. Same with this too. Expanding it will make manage your license details a little bit more as well in the submodules of the dashboard and things like that. So also coming down here, here's a list of all the third-party applications. I mean, there's a ton of them, but it's your basic Adobes, your readers, all the different applications you use. I know 7-Zip's in here, and you can take a peek and go through them. There's a ton of different softwares that they'll automatically update in here, so that is nice. It checks every 120 minutes by default. You can delay the patching on startup from the computer so that you're not patching right away. And I also do like to use this install delay pop-up, right? So this would be a pop-up on the agent that would come up, and your users can delay it, and you can set those variables there, right? The last big one here is the patching schedule. When do you want these to patch? I would probably select, a Friday and a Saturday and a Sunday. And then you could choose the first, second, or third week, but right now it'll do every week setting how I have it here. The other kind of cool one is if you did have an application to uninstall site-wide, you could have it add it here and it will add it to the uninstall queue. Nice way to uninstall applications site-wide. And then when do you want this to go ahead and play during the active time window? So what's this? This is, 8 a.m. Or it was 8 a.m. 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. If that's the schedule you want. Most people might make it nighttime, and do, this 8 p.m., not 8 a.m., 8 p.m. And I can't do my math. That's 8 p.m. to midnight, and let that run for that schedule, right? So cool. Operating system updates. This is first party. It's very similar to the last window. You want to enable it first, right? If you do just want it to report only and not actually update, this is what you would tick right here. Of course, you're going to get it. You want an assets view. This is going to show what patches are on your machine and do a full audit of it. If you want to manage the system restores, you can do that too and enable this here. Automatically install all available updates. I actually don't have that in this case, and instead I'm automatically installing the updates by category. You can see my categories I selected here. There's some more in here as well. So take a look at those. Receiving optional updates. These are like your drivers and things like that. Some people do like to tick this box, so totally available there if you'd like it. Coming down a little bit further here, there is the scheduler. There's the check interval up here. If you wanted to exclude a certain KB, I know this one has been hot lately. I know there's been a KB, I forget the exact naming, but you could exclude a KB from getting patched. I know Windows has been kind of crummy lately on their updates, and then they have to repatch it, later on. So if you know of one, you can prevent that from being installed. So that's kind of nice there. And then coming down is the scheduler. When do you want this to run first party updates or operating system updates? Most people like to wait till the third week, right? Because I think the second week is Patch Tuesday. It's when Microsoft releases their patches. Some people like to hold off to the third week so that they don't have to deal with all those issues when they come and hot fix them. And then again, when do you want this to run active during this installation? And we can do, 8 to midnight is when we want this to run. So cool. On the bottom here, I do choose delivery optimizations. It might be collapsed here, but this just reduces bandwidth when needed, just shares that. but I don't limit the bandwidth for downloads. I like to let it download quick. And then, of course, I always been talking about the notifications. I like to get a pop-up if the agent needs to reboot after installing these first-party patches, which is often the case. So we'll go ahead. Oh yeah, the one last thing is this OS updates reboot scheduler. Once you install your updates, you could say when you want the machines to reboot so that the patches can take place. So on the next module, we'll look at remote desktop and go over the remote desktop capabilities that Heimdal has. That is one thing that's different than most antivirus applications is they don't do remote desktop. So this is kind of a way that they allow that, and I'll show that off on the next video. Hey, thanks a lot, guys. Take care.